Hey, how you doing today? I'm so glad to be here with you. Thanks for joining me as we talk about, that big, ugly demon worry. Do you worry? I worry about things sometimes. So I want to make sure that you know right up front, this is not to judge or make you feel bad. This is intended to be a time where we can come together with our worries, because they exist, and be able to collectively support one another. So my question for you is, do you worry? Does worrying work? Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, an international best-selling author of 21 books and counting now. And I help people write, publish, market their books to bestseller and beyond. But really, more than that, what I do is I help you find your up level. I help you find that next, the silver lining in your cloud, if you will, and actually help you see that it was never a cloud to begin with. It was actually silver with cotton candy. I'd love to help you be able to find that up level and next in your life and move from worry and stress to effective, powerful action and success. So, with that said, let's jump into talking about and worrying about worry. um, I remember one time I was trying to encourage an author to change the title of their book to Putting Off Procrastination. It was a book about, not procrastinating. And I thought that was a really catchy title, Putting Off Procrastination, procrastination, in other words. But I think a lot of times we worry about worry, right? We stress out about our stress. We take all the things in life and we just roll them up into a tight little ball inside of us, right? And then we're sitting there just worrying about them. That's all we do. We talked the other day about the fact that, worry, fear, anxiety, all those things can't exist. You can't do that and be actively in service simultaneously. Your brain just absolutely can't do it. And yet, a lot of times we hold on to those quote unquote negative emotions. We hold on to them like a dear, precious lover. We are not going to let that worry, that stress, that thing go. We just can't. What would our life be like if we weren't worried about that thing? How would anything get accomplished if I wasn't on top of it? Now, there's some truth in that. If you just kind of bump through life and hope that, somehow a system comes out of a nothing, that's probably not going to help either. But worrying about it, stressing out over it, doing things that are bad for you, both physically and emotionally, as well as spiritually, those aren't going to change anything. If we sat here right now and went, just really put all of our energy into worrying something, could we worry it into a better situation? Could we stress it out of existence? Now, I know that you know that I'm being ludicrous and that doesn't happen. I get that, you know that, but we still all do it. I do. I mean, I had the funniest one happen for me, and it's happened a couple of times over the course of this last month. It's been a really weird 2023 financially so far. And I found myself, I was paying bills and I had paid the bills. This was in February. And as soon as they were paid, I started immediately worrying about next month's bills. Now, we're talking about a whole month that, was essentially in between then and the next ones. And rather than taking a minute and being like, that's one stress relieved, at least until this time next month, I immediately just went into, now what are we going to do about next month mode? Right? Don't we do that all too often? Don't we find ourselves worrying about our worries, about holding on to the things like we can somehow control them? One of the best pieces of advice I ever got, a gentleman named Sid Bauman said to me, he said, control what you can and don't worry about what you can't control. There are things that you can do something about, then do it. If it's something that you can do something about right now, absolutely do something about it. But if it's something that, first of all, isn't yours, or second of all, you can't change, then let it go. Now, we talk about letting go and letting God. We talk about all those kind of things, but let's face it, typically we don't. I'm not saying we don't pray about it. We're not earnest and we're not like, Oh Lord, please take this away from me. And then what we do is after the prayer's over, we say amen. And then I heard the phrase just the other day, we bring that thing to the altar. And then on our way back, we make sure we pick it up from underneath the altar and carry it back with us. I think actually my brother told me that was a phrase from my grandmother, Gerlaman. And it's so true. It is totally how we do things. And so, again, no judgment. We all do it. But my question is worrying work? Do you have the capability to worry something into where you need it to be? I want to give you an example. This is a deep psychological principle, actually, that I think was so eloquently, and I don't even remember, it was probably my mom in one of the classes that she took when she was in college or her master's degree. She graduated with her master's degree the same time that I graduated, the same year that I graduated from high school. My mom says she tries to figure it all out. Yeah, we do. It's like, I'm not stupid. I can figure this out. If I just worry and think about it and work on it enough, I can figure out a plan. And, so I want to give you this example. And like you said, this may be something that my mom taught me or that my mom learned in one of her classes. I don't know. Um, but that's the advantage of having a father who has a degree in pastoral counseling and a mother who has a degree in marriage and family counseling. I have been through some understandings, at least of psychology, at least a little bit, maybe. But the concept is of a tennis court playing, singles. So it's you and another person, and this is a great way of really picturing a conversation, um, a relationship with another person. And that's that you have your side of the court, they have their side of the court, and in between us, there's a net. Now, here's what we all want to do, calling myself out here. No judgment if you happen to be in that same with me. What we do is we hit the ball. We do the part that is our stuff. And then we run and we jump over the net and we run over there and we try to hit the ball for the other person too, right? We don't allow them to hit the ball, miss the ball, trip over the ball, all the things that all of us do, because we've done that on our side of the net. They send us something very simple. I saw on TV the other day, this lady found out she was pregnant and she said it to the man that was at least a father. I mean, modern television, they probably weren't married, because who gets married anymore, right? At least especially on TV, but and rather than the guy being like, oh wow, that's so cool, we're gonna have a baby together, he really didn't know what to say, and he did the verbal equivalent of tripping over the ball. She eloquently hit it over her side of the net over to his, and rather than hitting it back, he, quote unquote, tripped over the ball. And that we all do that. Somebody pays us a compliment, and we're like, oh yeah, it was no big deal. Rather than just saying, hey, thanks. That felt really nice for you to tell me that about me. I like getting compliments. Sometimes they're really uncomfortable because sometimes our own self talk comes in and our brain is explaining to us all the reasons why that person must be just a little cuckoo, because how could they tell you you're doing good when you know all of the negative stuff about you? But just because you messed up, just because, whatever has happened that you're judging yourself about, that doesn't make the fact that you did something really good and somebody noticed it and told you, doesn't make that any less true. There can be multiple things at the same time. And so as we begin to learn that we're on our side of the net, and so, okay, we trip over the ball rather than hitting it. That doesn't mean that we have to, slam the tennis racket to the ground and curse and swear like John McEnroe back in the day. Any of you have ever seen him play tennis? It does mean that we can just very easily, with grace, pick up the tennis ball and volley it back over to the other person. And then, and this is the hard part, stay on our side of the net and let the person deal with the ball that we hit back because it's in their court. I know that's some advanced stuff, isn't it? And I know you're just like I am. And what you really want to do is jump over the net and help them out. And we do it with the kindest, loving, most wonderful of intentions, but we don't necessarily do the right thing just because we intend the right thing. You know what I mean by that, don't you? Yeah, absolutely. So, as we learn how to stay on our side of the net, that also means that we have to let go of the stress and worry of all the things, and that's both conversationally as well as everything else, all the things that are on the other side of the net that aren't ours. And that's tough. It's better if we hit the ball over the net and we sit there. We're like, okay, I've learned how to not jump the net, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stress out about what's coming back at me until that ball comes back over my side of the net. I'm going to spend all of my effort and energy worrying, stressing, just being all freaked out over the things. And guess what? It doesn't have any impact on it at all. The other people, the other things, the other situations in life are going to do whatever they're going to do. And no matter how much energy you put into that, you're really not going to change it. Now, you can be a mean tennis player. You can intentionally knock the ball as far away from where the person is to try to make it as difficult for them to be able to volley the ball back to you. Now, that's not really conversation and that's not really relationship. That's trying to win against somebody. And typically that's what gets us in trouble. Or because we're in a volley, we're going back and forth with people and with things in life. If we can hit the ball in an easy for them to return place, then they can take the grace that we gave to them and they can choose to do that. Now, some people are still going to spike the ball on us and try to beat us in life. That's the nature of people, and that's okay. No judgment on them. When they get one past us, they smoke us, as we used to say. Ooh, I smoked you with that shot, right? We could just choose to go, hey, great shot, and walk over and pick up the ball and volley it back to them. Or we can choose to be all kinds of upset about it and go and pick up the ball and hit it just as hard as we can, either directly at them or way over, so they can't possibly return the ball either. And then we can be up and winning. What does that really serve us? You see, there's an old saying that says you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Interestingly enough, I was reading on that the other day because somebody said it, and the internet's great for looking up how did that phrase come into being, and actually there's some scientific studies that show that certain types of vinegar may actually capture more flies than honey does. But the concept of that phrase is that typically people are going to respond better to us when we're kind and tender and loving and gracious with them than when we're bitter and angry and evil and we try to just beat them. That's just kind of human nature. So I just, no judgment. I just was thinking about worrying about, honestly, some things in my own life. And I was like, what can I do about this worry? So I was like, you know what I can do? Because worry and service can't operate in your brain at the same time. It's just not mentally possible. I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out from my worry, from the things I'm stressed out about, and I'm going to reach out to you today. And I'm just going to say, hey, do you worry? Is your worrying working? Mine isn't. I'd like to, pull the wool over your eyes and go, hey, I found this great system for worrying about things and having success through worry. I don't know anybody that really has that. But when we really truly can just focus on serving, we can realize that we control the things that we can control and really truly release the things that we can't. We then can begin to find a level of success in life. We can find freedom in our own life. And I'm going to warn you with this one. When you do let go of some of those things, you may actually find that you sleep. And I know a lot of times we use that stress and pressure to keep us going, going, because we're thriving entrepreneurs and we've got to get it all done. And so we just mass more stress on us. A buddy of mine used to actually do what he called management by setting things on fire because he knew that his crew would just kind of take their time and do things until it was an absolute emergency. But if the building was burning down in a 5-alarm fire, oh, they were the most productive crew ever. He had trained them to be that way. A lot of us have trained ourselves to be that way. Maybe what we need to do, just like the book that launched yesterday, Exit Without Exiting, which is also still available on Amazon if you want to get it. Just like Jason was talking about, we can learn how to empower people and how to not make ourselves the center of the universe, but rather let people do what they're good at and train them to be even better at what they do and allow ourselves to live too. And then, yeah, maybe you do in the middle of the afternoon lay down and take a nap and you can really sleep because you've let the worries and the stress go. Oh, I want that for you. I hope you can experience that. I hope that this came across in the graciousness and the love and the meaning and willingness to give to you that it was totally my intention. So grateful to have you in my life. I hope you know you are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose and the world needs you. I want to just be here to help you live thriving and truly free so that you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And then until we're together again next time, you have a great